Welcome back to the second part of the conversation as Kemi Tijani, Manager and Business Staff for Microsoft, joins me now to take a look at these. Thank you for your time, Kemi.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, digital transformation, very key and very important. And of course, I understand that it's a journey, and we're still in the journey. So what would you say, how far have we come in the journey so far on the way to digital transformation?
I think for most industries in Nigeria, it's still very early stages. And they're not all the same. So industries like financial services, banking specifically is a bit more advanced. We start to see the proliferation of e-channels, mobile, and the adoption is quite high even with the consumers. But when you look at other industries like government, or even other parts of financial services like insurance or pensions, it's not as well adopted. So I would say generally we're still early stages, but some industries are more advanced than others.
I know there are quite a lot of things to look at. The issue of integration because of culture of the people, financial literacy and all of that. It's also an issue. For you, what is the most key thing for you in terms of, if you talk about digital transformation, that we should be looking at the moment?
I think the most important thing is that it's relevant to the audience, right? So, I mean, the people are not going to change overnight. And trying to change them wouldn't be the right approach. It's to find scenarios in which it actually makes people better off and it's easy to adopt, right? So if there's still a bit of digital literacy, then it's how you simplify that process that even the digitally illiterate can take advantage of some of this innovation. And you already see some of it with like banks doing short codes for transferring money, things like that. You don't need to be an IT person or even have a computer to be able to use services like that. But at the back end of that, from the bank side, there's innovation going in to allow that to happen. So I think what we need to do more of is really simplify the engagement from a consumer perspective so it's easy to use, and look at the use cases that are relevant to them and then lead with that.
The other issue that comes to mind is the issue of product personalization. Listen, you have to customize some of these products for easy usage of people out there. But industry players like you, I think it's something that you need to look at in that area. So what exactly are you doing in that area to address that issue, especially if you want to capture the larger market at the bottom line?
So in terms of customizations, we have a large network of partners. In Nigeria alone, we have over 2,000 partners, and they have different specializations. They have experience implementing these solutions in multiple companies, multiple industries. So the idea is that while we provide the platform, our partners can work with customers to really customize and make it relevant to their business. We also do a lot to develop the ecosystem, so both customer resources and even just the technology talent. So we engage universities and students and try to just ensure that people have the right skill, understanding going into the workforce that can work on these solutions that help get value out of them.
Well, other thing that also a lot of people have also recommended is the issue of regulations and policies. So what do you think in terms of policy and regulations in this sector of the economy? So what are the things that you intend to see in that area as regards regulation and policy?
I think, well, with the exception of a few policies, policy is actually quite supportive of adopting technology. Some of the decisions that regulatory organizations make and policies they adapt are actually things that you need technology to achieve. So if they say, for instance, that you need to be able to give a statement to every account holder, whether it's pensions or banks or whatever, every month or on demand. The only way you're going to be able to do that is leveraging technology. You can't do that manually by delivering a letter, right? So most of the regulations actually require technology. Of course, there's a few regulations like just the approach or the attitude towards cloud and data sovereignty that's not maybe as progressive as we would like, but then I mean there are pros and cons, I guess, and it's up to the OEMs and the technology companies to engage the stakeholders and help them understand what our value proposition is and kind of help them demystify that, so that while they are trying to do what's best for the people, they also understand what the actual risks are and not just perceived risks of these platforms.
You talk about data while you were talking. One thing again that a lot of people have argued is that Nigeria does not have enough data in terms of if they have to do a particular thing, that there is no accurate data. How do you think we can overcome this challenge as a country?
So there is data, it's just that nobody's harnessing the data, right?
Okay.
And what I mean by there is data is that data is not, how would I put it? Data is it's the activities that happen. It's always there. Now the question is, does anybody have the tools to capture the data, to analyze it, and to get insights from it? I think the challenge we've had in the past is that either nobody has bothered to capture the data, or the people that are capturing it haven't figured out how to get insights from it. But data is definitely there. I'll give you some examples, like for instance, your grocery store, wherever you do your shopping, they have you, they should know you by now. You go in there, you buy things, you swipe your card, they should know what bank you bank with based on that. They have the data somewhere, because somewhere in the back end, that bank is going to pay them, right? So they have it. On your card, even your name is there. So again, they have it. And then they also know how frequently you come in. They know when, maybe you come every 2 weeks, and then maybe over summer you disappear for 3 weeks. They can assume that maybe you traveled. And so they can actually paint a picture of you that's fairly accurate. They have this data. Now the question is, are they capturing it? Maybe not, right? Some of them are. They have a tool that recognizes you when you come in. They ask you what's your loyalty card or what's your number, and some of them don't. But it doesn't mean the data isn't there. It just means they're not trying to capture it. Some people capture it and they didn't do anything with it. So they have your loyalty number. They know who you are, but at the same time, they're not engaging you besides that, right? And so it seems like they don't have the data, but the data is actually there. So I think the question is not whether or not there is data, it's how we use it. I think more and more businesses...
Are we utilizing it?
Definitely not to the extent that we can, right? But then for businesses, so there's a phase, and there's an evolutionary phase.
Okay.
When you start a business, the first thing is you're trying to capture customers. You're trying to get customers. When you start to get customers, you want to get more customers. Now, if you're in an industry where you've only addressed 10% of your customer base, then you're still in that phase where you're trying to get more customers. Now it gets to a point where you and your competitors in the industry have somehow captured a significant portion of the customer base, and you're now at that point where, because you want to compete, you need to do more for the customers you have. You may not be getting new customers, but you need to do more for the customers you have, and you need to keep them and still try to attract new ones. And I think that's where businesses get most innovative. Fortunately or unfortunately, it's a situation that a lot of industries are still at that phase where they're still trying to capture customers. So it's not like, I don't want to say it's good or bad, but I would say they're just not evolutionarily at the point where it has become important. Not to say that it's not important.
How key is it? How important is this data to
today,
business?
You can function without it today.
Okay.
All right, and that's how you know how key it is. It is key. It will become more important in the future. Some people are already thinking ahead and saying, look, let me start to capture it now, because in the future I want to be more competitive. And they're forward thinking. But the truth is, many industries in Nigeria, you can survive today without capturing it. So your grocery store can survive, not bothering to know who you are, just let you come in, swipe your card and leave. But by the time we start to see consolidation in that industry, and maybe there are like 5 grocery chains and all of them are part of a chain, and those chains are going to start competing for you, because now one big chain doesn't want you to go shop anywhere else because they have locations everywhere.
That's right.
And that sort of thing. And so that's where you start to see the data becomes more important. But because today it's small businesses, they're not really seeing that far ahead, that's why it seems like it's not important. So to answer your question, I would say it is important. However, because of the stage where most industries and most businesses are, we haven't gotten to a point where you start to see large players competing for market share. They don't see the importance of the data. That's not their biggest problem. Their biggest problem now is just, how do I get more customers?
Okay, so just before we wrap it up now, your parting shot, looking forward, fast forward in the next 5-10 years to come. So would you say you're seeing a disruption as of never before that we perhaps may not be able to really, perhaps describe in terms of development and innovation?
So in the next 5 years, I expect to see a lot more technology being adopted everywhere. And this will come because that's what people will expect. So people are going to expect more, better service. They're going to expect, more personalization in their experiences. And because of that, the businesses are going to have to transform. And of course, those who do it earlier stand to gain the most. Those who are the later adopters, well, they take whatever is left. Is it going to be so disruptive that we wouldn't even recognize it anymore? I doubt it.
Okay.
It's just because things don't typically work that way. But we would see more of a transition towards that. And I expect that, large organizations in more mature industries will be the ones leading the way.
Well, let's leave it there. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, have a good day.
Yeah, Kemi Tijani, who is a manager, business app for Microsoft. Let's leave it here now. We'll take a moment to be back. Join a second.